In the hidden mountain city of Ojume's root, carved between the edge of the mortal world and the spirit realm, a story begins, not with a name, but with a flame. The Forgotten Song. There is a flame older than fire. A light that came before the sun. It danced in the belly of the earth before the first name was spoken, before the first drumbeat rippled across the land. This flame did not burn wood. It burned time. It did not shine outward. It shimmered within. The elders say the gods formed it from breath. That it lit the path for healers and kings, warriors and dreamwalkers. The flame was memory. The flame was destiny. And it lived in the blood. But then, the world stopped listening. Names faded. Drums fell silent. And the flame dimmed. Now, through smoke and silence, it calls again. Will you listen? There are nights the sky remembers. And there are nights the earth does not forget. This was both. The moon wept that night, not with rain, but with fire. A red glow spilled across the forest of Ainla like blood on silk. The trees, tall and ancient, bowed low, whispering warnings to the wind. They knew. A girl ran through that forest. Barefoot. Breathless. Alone, but never truly alone. For the forest had eyes, and the night had a memory. Her name was Amina. 16 reigns old. Daughter of no tribe. Orphan of the forest. Child of the whispering dark. Some say she was born beneath a full moon without a cry. Others say the trees sang her into being. Behind her, the village of Obite burned. A place once rich with laughter, curry-traded stories, fire-cooked yam, and echoes of praise songs for gods older than the mountains. Now, silence screamed louder than any drum. The villagers had fallen, not to war, not to famine, but to the iron-masked men. Raiders cloaked in silence, marching like shadows, wearing no eyes beneath cold steel. They did not speak. They only took. They had not come for gold. They had come for relics. For stories. For anything that still remembered the old gods. And they had come for the drum. Not just any drum. This one pulsed with ancestral fire, carved from sacred Iroko, its heart bound in red twine soaked in ancient ash. It was said to echo the first heartbeat of the world. Amina didn't know why she could hear it. Only that when the raiders came, the forest whispered just one word. Run. She did. Through the underbrush, through the moonlit shadows. Past the carved stones of the ancestors. Past the shrine of how the names of the dead. She paused. Panting. Sweating. Bleeding. The drum in her hands burned, but she would not drop it. Then, from the void between wind and silence, a voice came. Not spoken. Felt. The flame does not die, child. It returns. In blood. In memory. In sacrifice. Pause. Wind intensifies. Then silence. Amina looked over the cliff. Below, darkness. Behind, fire. And in her hands, the last echo of the flame. She clutched it to her chest. And jumped. Far beyond the burning forest of Ainla. Beyond rivers that whispered names to the moon. And valleys where time walked barefoot. There stood a city, hidden from history, shielded by memory. Ojume's root. A place carved not by hands, but by fate. It rested inside a vast crater of black obsidian mountains. A natural fortress shaped by the fall of a god. Or so the elder said. No outsider had set foot here in over a century. Not because they could not find it, but because the city did not wish to be found. For within its walls lived the last flamebearers. Guardians of memory. Keepers of the sacred tongue. Custodians of the ancestral flame. They did not rule. They remembered. And from remembrance, power flowed. At the center of their sanctuary stood the sanctum of silence. A hollow dome of black stone and starlight. Within, 5 priestesses sat cross-legged on woven grass mats. Their faces veiled in threads of red and ash. They were the Council of Silence. Each had offered her tongue at the threshold of womanhood, a blood price to commune beyond sound. Now, they spoke only through carved stones, sand scripts, and wind flutes. At their head sat Mara, the High Whisperer. Her eyes were clouded white as moonstone, her skin dark as river earth. She had not aged in over 60 seasons. Though many wondered, no one asked. In Ojumare's root, questions were a form of disrespect. Only silence could unlock truth. On the morning after Obite burned, Mara stirred violently in her sleep. The dream had returned. But this time, the fire spoke. She sat upright in her sacred chamber. Before her, a large ceremonial bowl of oil and white sand burned steadily. But now, the flames turned blue. It had not done so in decades. Not since the day the oracle Esunkomi vanished without a trace into the ancestral veil. It was a sign. A breach between the worlds. A disturbance in the flame's memory. Mara placed her right palm into the burning bowl, unflinching. The flame licked her skin but left no mark. Instead, a vision bloomed behind her eyes. A red forest sky. A girl running barefoot. A sacred drum pulsing like a heart. And a voice from the void. The flame does not die, child. It returns. In blood. In memory. In sacrifice. Sound, sudden rush of wind, like a silent alarm. Soft metallic chimes ring once. She rose slowly and tapped her staff on the stone floor thrice. Once for danger. Once for loss. Once for hope. From each shadowed archway in the sanctum came the other 4 council priestesses. They bowed in silence, forming a circle. With graceful hands and trembling fingers, Mara wrote into the sand between them using an ancestral bone. The flame stirs. A child carries its echo. The line of Esu is not broken. The others gasped, not aloud, but in breath. One priestess, Elder Nanya, carved a response on a smooth ivory stone. The world forgets. We remember. Shall we seek the spark? Mara blew into her flute. 3 soft notes followed by one sharp cry. A summons. A decision. A reckoning. The ritual of bone wind had begun. In the ancient tongue, it is said, when the flame stirs, memory awakens. When memory awakens, the gods remember. And when the gods remember, mankind must answer. The council sat still for hours. No words. No movement. Only listening. The wind carried whispers from the south. From Ainla. From the place where something forgotten had remembered itself. Mora's hand hovered over a sacred gourd filled with white sand and powdered bone. She scattered it across the chamber floor. Within the patterns, a face emerged. A girl. Her eyes, wild. Her soul, marked. Amina. Cut to a hidden chamber beneath the sanctum. Mora walks alone, holding a candle made from sacred fat. Only once before had the flame chosen a child. It had ended in blood. It had ended in silence. It had ended with Esunkomi. And now, the echo returned. But the world was no longer ready. Too much had been lost. Too much sacrificed. The flame wanted to live. But first, it had to remember who it was. And for that, they needed the girl. Mora stood before a sealed stone door. On it, carvings of ancient battles, gods, and a symbol that burned into the soul. The flame's eye. She pressed her palm against the stone. It opened with a groan like a dying elephant. Inside, a single object. A mask. Not just any. But the veil of the forgotten. Worn only by one chosen to walk between memory and madness. Mora lifted it with trembling hands. Her lips moved without sound. Find the girl. Or we all become forgotten stories. Amina fell for what felt like hours. Down, 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 swallowed by mist and wind, her body caught between memory and gravity. Then, silence. No pain. No sound. Just breath and earth. She woke beneath roots. Massive ones, thick as elephant tusks, knotted like ancient hands. They held her gently, as if the earth itself had caught her fore. Above her stood a colossal tree. Its bark black as night, with veins of red glowing faintly beneath its surface. Its leaves shimmered like metal, rustling in a rhythm older than wind. This was no ordinary tree. It had no name in any tongue still spoken. But among the flame keepers, it was whispered in myth. Odonoi. The listening tree. The one who remembers. Sound, low, resonant hum rising, like a breath held for centuries. Amina stirred, her hand still cradling the drum. She did not know how long she had been there. But something, someone, was watching. Then, a voice. Not heard with ears. But with heartbeat. You are not meant to run forever, flame bearer. Amina sat up sharply, eyes scanning the clearing. Who's there? She whispered. No one. Only the wind. Only the tree. She tightened her grip on the drum. The one whose roots remember, the voice answered. Sound, slow creaking of bark. Leaves rattle like laughter. The great tree shifted. Not violently. But deliberately. One branch twisted downward, coiling like an arm. Its tip brushed the drum in Amina's lap. The moment wood met wood. The air cracked. Sound, whooshing pulse, then silence. Then layered echoes, visions, distant voices overlapping. Amina's eyes rolled back. Her mind was no longer in her body. It soared across time. She saw a golden city built of red sand and bronze, where children danced around sacred fires. Warriors wearing lion masks, chanting praises to the flame under a blood moon. A silver-eyed queen raising the same drum high above her head as lightning struck behind her. A council of masked sages offering blood into fire as stars wept above them. And then, darkness. A black fog swallowing shrines, cities, songs. A silence so deep it cracked the sky. The flame flickered. Then vanished. Snapped back. Amina gasps. Her body trembles. The tree hums like a lullaby. You are chosen, child, the voice said again. But choice means nothing without sacrifice. Amina wiped her brow, her fingers shaking. What must I do? She whispered. The tree's leaves rustled, not in breeze, but in thought. The flame was never a single fire. It was a chorus. You carry one note. To awaken the song again, you must find the others. Flame bearers. Keepers of echoes. Children of forgotten gods. Amina lowered her gaze. Others like me. Some do not know what they carry. Some have turned their flame into weapons. Others have been silenced. A pause. A wind passed through her soul. You must awaken the echoes. Only then can the flame return. Amina touched the drum. It now felt heavier. Fuller. As though generations slept within it. She looked up. But I'm just a girl. I don't even know who I am. The tree's bark paused gently. You are memory uncoiled. You are the scream of the old gods trapped in flesh. You are the daughter of no tribe, because you belong to all. A moment of stillness. The forest listened. But remember this. To carry the flame is to walk where the living and the dead breathe the same air. It will break you, child. And if you survive, you will never be who you were again. Amina rose slowly. I'm already not who I was, she said. Sound, low thrum of power. The tree gently lifts one root, revealing a hidden path of stone covered in moss. Then go. Your path begins at the shrine of the fallen stars. Beyond the valley of salted bones. Seek the boy who hears the earth. He carries the second flame. She nodded. The drum beat once. Then twice. Then again, faster now, matching the rhythm of her heart. Amina took one last look at the listening tree. Will I return? She asked. All flames return to ash, the tree answered. But not all ashes are forgotten. And so, Amina stepped onto a path carved not by footsteps, but by memory. Behind her, a burning past. Before her, a fate older than prophecy. In her hands, the last known echo of the flame. Within her, a question that could either save the world or set it ablaze again. Beyond the cliffs of Dulu, where vultures echo in silence and the sun never weeps, there lies a desert so wide, it forgets its own end. It is a land where the sky watches with no eyelids, and the earth swallows names. Here, during the heart of a sandstorm, a boy was born. They named him Kojo. But the storm had already named him something else. The winds howled the night he came. Grains of glass swirled like angry spirits. Yet within a tense stitch from the skins of sun serpents, a woman gave birth without pain, without cry, only fire. As the child was lifted to the light of the storm, his skin shimmered, faint, silver, and warm. Not from heat, but from something beneath. The elders came. They examined the newborn in silence, traced sacred sigils across his chest with ochre, laid his tiny feet upon burning coals. He did not cry. They stepped back, nodding slowly. He is flame-born, the oldest whispered, marked to resist the rot. The gods have placed a spark within him. Kojo grew strange. He spoke to wind before he spoke to people. He listened to rocks and shadows. At night, he would stare into the embers and smile, as if they told him stories. But it was his dreams that frightened even the wise. Every night, he dreamed of a girl. Barefoot. Running. Holding a drum bound in red twine. Behind her, a forest burned. Ahead, a voice cried from stone. To the east, the flame remembers. Walk before it forgets you. And every night, he woke with sand in his mouth and the name, Amina, on his lips. The stars began to shift. The desert grew restless. Goats birthed twins with golden eyes. A sand well turned to blood for 3 days. The signs were speaking. The flame was stirring. And far to the south, others were listening. Ubeka swamps. Buzzing insects, croaking frogs, feet splashing through water. In the swamplands of Ubeka, where the trees grow with twisted limbs and the moon hides behind steam, a woman walked alone. Her name was Ifinanya, daughter of war, granddaughter of General Oji, hero of the spirit war. She bore her grandmother's axe, its blade kissed by lightning, its handle carved with the names of those it had slain. She did not speak much. She did not need to. She had fought river beasts. She had slain whispering leeches in the depths of Ubeka's curse pools. But lately, something stranger had taken hold. At night, when she sharpened her axe beneath the moon, drums began to whisper. Not tribal drums. Not war drums. But ancient ones. Flame drums. And then she began to hear the voice. A city carved in stone, a girl with a drum. The fire must not go silent again. The axe grew warm in her hands. She told no one. She packed her things. And one morning, as the frogs began their song, Ifinanya vanished into the mist. Westward. Toward Ojumare's route. Scene shift, coastal plains. Soundscape, crashing waves, madness-laced flute tones. Elsewhere. On the wild cliffs of Asaba where the sea eats stone. And gulls do not cry. A forgotten man opened his eyes for the first time in 40 years. His beard dragged behind him like a funeral cloth. His spine curved like a broken bow. His name was once sung in temples. Now, it was a warning in taverns. Boba Inako. The mad priest. Once a great seer. Once a voice of the flame. Then, forgotten. Buried in dream. Sealed by silence. Until now. He awoke screaming. His body jerked forward with a sound like tearing bark. The flame has chosen again. The lineage is not dead. He tore off his robes, drew spirals in the sand with his nails, howled at the sun until it hid behind clouds. Then, suddenly, he laughed, and danced, and wept, and whispered, Amina, the girl of the echo. The drum walks again.